So we're here for day 10, 10-ish, something like that, of the Zero to Hero. There is a mini reset coming up in a couple of days, which is pretty much the same thing that happened back in Gold or whatever, where we sat just a little bit above Plat 5. We knew it was coming, we pushed over, and then we sort of sat on Plat 5. I just have not been able to play as much, and a lot of our weekends have been eaten up by tournaments, so I haven't been able to aggressively push as much as I would like. And with the store champs coming up, I don't think that I will have the time to grind all the way through Diamond before Friday, since Friday is like 2 days from now for where we're like Wednesday evening. So my plan is to finish out, so we're Plat 1 already, so we only need to get through just sort of the end of Platinum here. And then once we get to D5 Diamond, we'll probably stop. If we've only played a small handful of games, we may do a little bit of hardcore with this, because I would still like to get some additional practice in with this deck. This is the one that I'm probably going to be playing for the store championships, either this version, which is what we've adjusted to, or something pretty close to this. This is the list that we played in the event, minus 1 Baboom and 1 Beast Hard-Headed for an additional Zeus and the Alice that I was missing, which says, which was pretty sad. The official soft drink of Lorcana. I don't know if Disney is locked into anything. It's probably like something pretty mild. Interesting. I'll have to think about that. It's probably like a Diet Coke or something. But yeah, so we are... we're just going to play some games with these minor adjustments, and then we will see if we can't push through to Diamond 5. And then that'll give us some room to sort of sit until after Friday. And then between the store champs, we'll get ourselves squared away with the sort of the next steps. I think we mull these 2 and 1 Flav. Since we have a Mickey, that's fine. We can draw cards with the Popsicle here. This is good. Cogsworth is great. Yeah, this hand is pretty solid. The Alice doesn't matter a ton in this matchup. It's likely going to be ink for us here. We are on the draw, which is something to note. But it does make the Mickey into Cogsworth. We'll have both of these in play as well, likely. A little bit better. But we don't have any removal for this, which we just drew, because we're awesome at the game, obviously. So I think we're just going to blast it, just straight up, because our hand is a little slow. We may as well remove the Curse from our Folk, buy ourselves a couple of turns, and then we're good to go. I've been thinking I almost want another Fire the Cannons over another Baboom, but I think I would have to cut Zeus for that. So I'm not really sure. I don't know. We'll maybe have to review our removal package at some point. So this is bad for them. We don't have any songs because we mulliganed them, and this is just like super not ideal for them. So I am actually, yeah, I think I am going to play the Smee first. So I will get rid of one of the Tinkerbells here. I am going to play the Smee because it keeps us pretty healthy for a while. But I'm going to lead this into Mickey into Cogsworth. So I may not even be able to do this Flav draw. We'll see where our opponent leaves us in a turn or two here. But ideally what we want to do is we want to get the Cogsworth down, and then the rest of what we play this game kind of doesn't matter that much. Because this is just the most important thing. Another Cogsworth is very good. Maybe we don't need the draw then as much. Given that we're just not going to have time to play it, we're just going to be playing Cogsworths for a while, so I think we're okay with that. So let's do this, and I'm going to pass. I want them to have to commit the removal to this now, and I don't want this to have damage on it for no reason. And if they don't have the removal immediately for both of these, then we'll just get to keep one with our Cogsworth here too. Like, I'm totally fine with hitting this Popsicle. They're making us discard. Well, I'll get rid of the Popsicle then. Hopefully they don't make us discard 2 or even 3. Because I'd like to be able to play 2 Popsicles. Strength killing both of our characters is annoying, but doesn't really matter. Especially if they're not drawing any cards from it. Your clock is not particularly fast. It's fast enough that I may want to play a Cogs into a Tinkerbell, but I don't think it's so crazy that we are just going to lose the game from what they've got down. So we'll play a Cogsworth and then we'll ship it back. The second one would still be worthwhile to play, especially... Oh no. Alright. Yeah, a bit unfortunate. Maybe I should have opted for the draw instead. Now we're a bit at the mercy of the top of our deck, which is not unexpected with the way that this matchup plays out, but another Cogsworth is a pretty good draw here. So damage-wise, it'll take 1 if we attack something, and then they can attack back for 2. I think I can just hit the Friar Tuck here and pass. And then we can potentially clean up the Friar Tuck here. Let's see what they play out. I was very fortunate to draw the other Cogsworth there, though. So we ripped a Beast. We'll just play it, I think. Probably just quest for 4. Like, we have a pretty fast clock. As fast as our opponent, but if our opponent taps their things, like, it's generally not as good for them. Let the Storm Rage on lets them draw 2 cards, but they don't actually get to do any damage with it, which is nice. They had to wait until we played another character, otherwise they would have had to deal 4 damage to their own characters, which obviously is not great for them. We can kill this Ursula for free, which is nice. That I don't know if I necessarily agree with. Maybe it's fine, but it doesn't seem particularly strong. I mean, we may as well just cast this, I suppose. It does make us keep this Cogs back, I guess. I think I'm supposed to cast this. Do we want them to make us discard, maybe? I think I always just hit this here. And clean it up. And then I think I always just quest with this Cogsworth. And then pass. I don't think I need to grab your sword here. I would rather them try to make us discard it, because it doesn't really matter. But now, if this Robin is tapped, we can use the Beast to grab your sword, and then that'll be better for us. Yeah, so they're going to lose pretty much their whole board here. So I didn't want this one to be vulnerable, and if our opponent had, like, swords, they could Robin, like, they could swords and then Robin and kill our Cogs, and we just don't need to, we don't need to be vulnerable there at all. Like, our hand is so good that we just don't need to be vulnerable for any reason, essentially. We're just, like, if we don't leave ourselves weak to anything, our opponent just literally can't win. Like, none of their cards have any text. If we just keep this Cog safe, we're just going to win the game eventually. Like, even with just this Beast alone, we'll win the game, right? Because, like, they can put 2 damage here, but it really doesn't matter that much. So that's dead. So I think what we'll do is we'll just play out Flaversham. We'll quest here, quest here. Yeah, they concede. Basically, the reason that I didn't quest is if this Cogs is untapped, their deck has literally no way of getting it off the table. And it makes all of their removal and all of their characters really pretty bad in this matchup, right? It just prevents them from being able to do much. So we can use it, since it took a little bit of damage, just as a defensive tool. And then it makes them have to have Like, they literally couldn't do anything to our characters. This 4/4 was a 4/4 resist 2, which just bullied their whole board. So there was just not much that they were able to do in that spot. As long as you're able to find a Cogsworth and actually get it down, especially on turn 4, pretty much anything that you play is just insane against this deck. So that ends up being pretty favorable for us a lot of times, and it is a good way of winning that matchup, is you just make it so you don't die, and ideally you can do fire the cannons or whatever against their early pressure, and then we go second again, which is unfortunate. We do have a Mickey, which is good, and we found a Baboom, which I think is very strong here. Let's get rid of Whole New World. Let's get rid of one of these Popsicles and the Bell. We'll keep the Flab and the Popsicle. We may have to do that to try and draw into the Cogsworth if we don't hit one. Unfortunately, we ripped a Zeus, so they are going to get to steal a card from our hand with an Ursula. And they may be able to quest with an early 1-drop if they have one, because the Baboom costs 2. But it does give us an answer for it on the second turn, or if they just have the 2-drop instead. So they inked a Robin, and they didn't play anything. We actually found a Cogsworth, so we're in like a pretty good spot. We can get rid of Bell. We don't really need that in this matchup. We'll play our Popsicle here. Pass. Bell, I think, is the least important card in this matchup, specifically in our whole deck, because we're just never getting to like 10 ink. Like, it's pretty rare that we get to 10 in this deck. So it's not something that we're super concerned about. I don't think I'm going to Baboom this until they've already tapped it once. Which means that we're not going to be able to Baboom it for a while. So it's going to get 6. Maybe we just do it now. While we have the opportunity to. I mean, we don't really have to. It's just going to get in for 6. Maybe that doesn't really matter. The Quill is actually nice. We'll get rid of Hard-Headed here. Send it back. We can use the Quill instead of the Mickey Detective. Mickey Detective does potentially threaten the Smee, though, but this is awkward for us because we don't have a removal for it yet. I'm considering just killing this now, but we really need the ramp to be able to play Cogsworth early. So we'll get rid of Bell. This actually draws a card as opposed to the Quill here. Because it just leaves an extra card in our hand. We don't know what they're going to look like as far as discard. Yeah, I think Mickey is just better. The only thing is Mickey makes it so that their spells are more live. But I think Mickey drawing a card here is what's relevant. Because, like, if our opponent just now plays a character and then uses John to, like, sing Strength, then it kills our Mickey, which is unfortunate. But it does threaten their Smee, so they kind of are compelled to do that. So Friar Tuck, that we discard a card and then they get the draw. I can get rid of the Fishbone Quill here. We are never going to get to play this Flaversham, I don't think. Maybe. It's going to be rough for us to actually have an opportunity to play this Flav. Like, I don't believe that we're going to have time to play it, but we'll see. I think I can get rid of the Zeus. I mean, we'll see. If I can use this Mickey to kill the Smee, like, maybe it'll be fine. They just get to draw cards by making us discard, which is really awkward. I doubt that they're going to tap this Prince John, but they might. To make us discard another card. Again, this is the prime example of, like, why this Flaversham really isn't going to work, because they're just making us discard too many cards. Like, we have to play this Cogsworth before it gets discarded, because it's just better to play off the top with the Cogsworth, but they may end up running us out of cards. Another Cogs is very good here, so we'll get rid of the Smee. Here's what I'm saying is the only card, literally, I don't even care if we have 0 cards in hand, the only thing that matters in this matchup is having Cogsworth in play. Literally, it's not close. If you have 2 Cogsworth in play, you just play a card off the top of your deck, and none of the other things matter at all. So that is the reason that we're doing this. I'm probably going to sacrifice a Popsicle to keep the Mickey around too, because nothing else matters except for getting these Cogsworth down. I'm going to discard this Flav before this Cogsworth 100% of the time. If they make us discard 2 more, obviously we can't do much about that. But if they make me discard 1, I'm going to get rid of the Flaversham because I don't care. We've already drawn enough cards to ink to 5, which means that we can play basically everything in our deck that we care about. And if we just have a second Cogsworth down, like, what do? They can't tap this John anymore, and they can't tap the Friar Tuck anymore either. And then they're just going to lose, right? And that's the plan. Like, knowing what's in their deck, there's only so much that they can do against the Cogsworth pile. We could Flav and draw here. Given that they just played a Beast, we could actually take it out with another Zeus. But, like, the best that they can do is go to, like, 10. I think I can just play Cogsworth here. We can play Cogs and, I guess, just pass. If I hit here, they have a bit too much damage. I think we can wait a turn, let them draw an extra card with the Beast. It kind of doesn't matter. Because, like, if we ever rip a Swords or a Tink, it's still really bad for them. Obviously, their board position is a lot better than an average board position that we end up encountering out of these decks. But we'll see. We may need this Flaversham just to try and draw some cards at this point. So that we can find removal to take what they already have on the board off. But even something like a Tinkerbell would be a pretty good draw here. Mickey could have quested, yeah. I don't believe that the 1 lore here is what's going to be the decider in this game, however. But yes, it probably could have. Tink would probably be the best draw here. I may end up having to Whole New World just to blow up the board. I think I can ink the Beast, because this Beast just isn't our problem right now. I'm just debating, so if I Whole New World first, we could find like Tink Swords, and then that leaves them with just Beast, which is probably better. Because then they can maybe kill a Cogsworth, but yeah, that's not good. So we have no Swords, no Tink. Are we just dead then? It's really not great. We can spin the wheel again. But we're risking a Cogsworth then? No, I think I maybe have to. Our opponent's going to draw a lot of cards if we do that. But they don't have a ton of resources. Maybe that doesn't matter. I can shoot one of these, shoot another one of these. Like, shoot the Beast. And I could still play this Beast. Maybe that's actually fine, because if I shoot here, play Beast, I'm probably going to lose by doing this play, honestly, as opposed to trying to double mill them. We'll do this, and then we'll just quest here. It feels like we're pretty dead because we missed on the swords, but we'll see. The Mickey realistically couldn't die because of the double Cogsworth, like with their board. That's fine. I don't actually care about making us discard more here, unless they make us discard 4, which I suppose that they could. Ideally, discarding 2 doesn't matter, though. So we'll see. I don't really know what's in their deck. They've sudden chilled us an awful lot already, so they would have to have drawn it off of... So this would have to be sudden chill, realistically. I don't know, we'll see. We're almost certainly going to have to Whole New World next turn, but we can potentially clean up their whole board. Since we've dug so deep without hitting a Swords or a Tink, like, it opens us up to having more of them. So hopefully they just go really wide, and then we're able to Whole New World them again. I guess they could have the other Ursula here. No, they already didn't play that. Yeah, I am kind of encouraging them to go really wide here. Because we actually have an answer to that. Okay. So we'll ink Alice, because we don't really need Alice. If I play Belle, that leaves us with 3/4. No, I don't think I can play Belle. I think I just have to do Whole New World with a Cogsworth here. That's so that we can still use the Beast to attack if we need to. But we'll Whole New World. Alright, so we did rip a Swords. You can draw their extra card, it's whatever. So we'll play... grab your Swords with Cogsworth here, I think. So it kills most of the board. They still have this Ursula, though. Could Whole New World again to find Tinkerbell, since we've not seen one yet. I don't hate that necessarily. Honestly, or another Swords would be good. Yeah, let's do it. I think Tinkerbell is certainly better than another Sword here. Tinkerbell kills everything, and then we can Mickey the Friar Tuck. Like this. And just play Popsicle. Ship it back. Alright, your turn. So that's 1, 2, 3 Merfolk. 1, 2, 3 Flynn Riders. So that's like the majority of their really high lore characters. So I would think that we should be okay here. Especially because we can do grab your sword and then just kill whatever they play again. This is one of the grindier of this matchup that I've played. So they get to take grab your swords if they want. Which is fine, I guess. Especially because we can just play like our hand. This doesn't really put enough of a clock for me to care, right? Yeah, and that, like, we are getting very close to just decking them. This is a May, though, right? The Prince John discards 1 or more. You may draw. Yes, they don't have to do that. They've got 5. I've got 9 on the field. We just add another character, and then we just have them dead on board. We can also just ink something, too, if we were really feeling it. Oh, they just concede. Yeah, because they know that they can't really answer anything here. We can just quest for 2 turns and then they lose. Just with the characters that we already have. a good start to our getting up to Diamond 5, I suppose. This might be a really short stream. It should be okay. Gives me other stuff that I can do and we can stream again. Maybe Friday. Like, I was considering changing my work schedule around so that I can finish up tomorrow. Just work Friday maybe, but... So I go first. We can get rid of this. We can beast into Whole New World maybe. Wish I had Quill, but let's do this, I think. See if we can find one. Yeesh, not a great hand. We're likely going to have to ink the Smee here then. Which is fine, but not ideal. I would rather have the Smee in play, of course, but if we can't, it's fine. We're going to need to draw some inkables, though, because I really would like to be able to play this beast. Yeah, I think I'll still ink the Smee. I mean, we can ink Flav. We're not using Flav. I just don't think I can play the Smee. Unfortunately, ripping the Zeus and the Fire the Cannons is a little awkward here, but it's fine. Could always rip a Quill off the top, and that would help too. Ripped a Sad Beast. Okay, let's get rid of Smee. Play out Mickey. Pass. So we can jam our Sad Beast to blow up an item. Sorry, our Hard-Headed Beast. I think that's better than Tragic. Even if it's just killing Popsicle. I still think I'd rather just jam the Hard-Headed. The Inca Let It Go. For our Grammatella. It's okay. Alright, let's ink Flav to play Hard-Headed. Blow up the Popsicle, and then we'll quest with the... Actually, we'll just leave that back. We don't need to quest with it. A, I don't necessarily want the Tala to hit it, but B, I don't want them to have... This is going to be a rough game without extra ramp, because we don't have an answer to the Quill right now. They've ramped quite a bit more than us, unfortunately. Like, quite a bit more. Obviously, if we had another Hard-Headed, this would be a little better. It's like I could get rid of this. Hard-Headed that. Again. And then I guess I don't need a Whole New World this turn. I can just quest here, probably. And then pass. Obviously, B-Prep would be annoying. Because it kills our board. Normally, this is not a great matchup to begin with, and we had a pretty mid draw. Gaston is not particularly scary for me here. It means that they don't have Be Prepared because they likely would have cast it on this board. Which, given that we don't have any inkables, I think we should... Whole New World here. I'm just debating if I want to Zeus the Gaston or not. Scar can, like, kill two of our things if we have more than one of them tapped, which is annoying. Maybe I am supposed to Zeus here. Like Zeus that, Whole New World. And then here we can like ramp up a bit. We can play Bell and McQuill. Potentially. We don't need to play Bell here actually. I can just do Quill, Ink, grab your sword, I think. Could have been playing some of these popsicles, I guess. Yeah, I don't want to walk into the B prep with the Bell. That's kind of what I was thinking. I actually wouldn't mind another Quill. Like, one of the cards that I'm a little scared of is Scar, because Scar is, like, fucking annoying. And this gets to kill our whole board if we overcommit. It's possible that I can just ink the Alice and then play this and quest. Or actually just pass, rather. Use this for Tremaine protection. So we've caught up on ramp. Now Whole New Worlds and Flowershams are both very good draws for us here. Obviously they run out of Quill because they have one now. Shield of Virtue and a Maui. Sure. So they only have 3 cards in their hand. We can kill the Maui and just, like, play 2 things. Which doesn't seem terrible. Just, like, kill this, play Smee Cogsworth. Quest, and then pass. I don't necessarily need to play the Bell right now. I'd rather have that as a follow-up to a B prep, ideally. Especially since we haven't gotten rid of one. Now kills Beast, I suppose. Yep. They get rid of a Maui, which is interesting. I wouldn't think that they would need to ink more here. Like, what is the point of them inking more? I guess if they draw a Flab, they want to be able to do multiple things with it. So there's something to be said for that. Do this. We get a Sad Boy. And a Whole New World. Don't really want a Whole New World right now. I don't need 2 of these. Like, if their hand is just a dime, I don't want them to be able to play it for free is the thing. I'd rather them be prepared next turn. So it makes me want to just play this Beast. And then we'll just quest with the Smee. Which is fine. We'll quest with the Smee and pass, because the only thing that they can kill it with is the Maleficent, and if their play is just to attack this here and then shield it, that's fine. I guess if they just play Dime, maybe that doesn't matter that much. Because we can use the Flav to draw with the Popsicle just to add more ink, too. If they're attacking that, it means that they're likely not killing my whole board. As long as Cogsworth gets to live... Get rid of Flav here. I mean, depending upon if this beast lives, what it draws, we may, if they're going to ink the Quill, then I definitely am looking to Whole New World this turn. And then I'm just going to overwhelm them. Especially if they ripped a Popsicle here. But we'll see what the beast draws, I suppose. Could change my mind. Because we may need to clear this board a little bit. So a Tink can deal 1. One of our dimes is gone already. Okay, I don't want them to be able to draw extra cards here without us being able to draw extra cards. Which makes this kind of tricky. I don't think that what we need is Tinkerbell here. It's not bad, but it's also not what I need. Oh, no, ink. The fuck? Get it out of here. I think we do this, and then we beast to sing it. Tamatoa and a Maleficent. Those are both very good. So we can hold on to these, realistically, a little bit. 23 cards. We can almost mill them out, but not quite. A little awkward with the cards that we drew. I'm going to start with a Popsicle here before I play anything then. Another Tinkerbell. So I guess what I can do is I can ink 2, play Tink Smee maybe. We don't need another Cogsworth necessarily. And maybe we just don't need another Tinkerbell. Let's play Smee and play Tinkerbell. Do this, and then we could use the Cogsworth just to kill the Grandmaster. But I think I can just hold the Cogsworth. They may have to blow up this board. Like, their hand is probably a bunch of Be Prepareds, to be honest. Maybe we do just quest. Go to 8. I think I'll quest and go to 8 and pass. Because, like, this board is very Be Preppable here, for sure. Like, we're at the point in the game where that makes sense. They can obviously use the Maleficent to kill both of these, which maybe makes them not want to do it. Like, they can do that, kill Belle. No, it looks like they have a Be Prepared, which is fine. I'm totally okay with a Be Prepared in this spot. Singing it is less good for me, obviously, but I think I'm okay with a Be Prepared here, because like we sort of played into it with the intention of being able to Whole New World again. Especially because I want them to dig a little deep. Unfortunately, if they remove all of their items here, then my hard-headed becomes worse. But maybe we just blast their hand anyway. Like, maybe I don't even play either of these, because we should still have, like, 2 bells, some sad beasts. I could play Cogsworth and 1, like, ink these 2. That might be fine, because this can't be Medusa. We haven't seen any Medusas yet. So let's do this. We'll ink this. We'll hit a hard-headed. We'll do this. I don't think that we hit any cards that are particularly good here, unfortunately. It does not look like we did, but we can remove some more of this stuff, like the Mickey here, and we can just play out Belle, and then pass, probably. I don't think I need to ink another one. I could ink this, because we don't necessarily need another Quill. But there's a world where we're getting to the point of Tamatoa being our lethal option. So we'd want it to have a little bit more items, if we can. We have 16, they have 10. So another Whole New World is pretty close to lethal. I inked 2 bells. No way. Maybe, though. But we still have a Tamatoa in here. I'd believe that we inked 2. Like, our opponent is drawing more cards than they probably need. So they B-prep again. It's fine. They are getting close to just lethal here. Like, I don't know what they're inking to. Maybe Crab plus Dime. because they know that they have a crab in the bin. They are down to 9. So they are realistically leaning towards crab plus dime. Is what they're looking for. Because if they get enough ink, then they can, in theory, play crab and then play dime in the same turn. But we have answers for that. I don't think... I'm just going to play the quill and pass. There's almost certainly a Tamatoa in their hand, and they're looking to, like, play the Tamatoa, play the dime, and activate it in the same turn. But, like, it feels like that is a bit of an overcommitment to me, when they could have just, like, been using some of these cards instead. Like, they're getting themselves into the point where just the whole new world off the top is just lethal straight up. Which is good for me. Is there an additional Flav? We've inked 2 of them. Yeah, there's another Flav in here, too. So here's the Tamatoa. Here's their dime. Yep, they grab back Lucky Dime. That's fine. They play the dime. Are they going to double ink here? Please overcommit. They don't. But we have this. And we have this. Which I think I'll use now. So we'll do that and then we'll pass. So like the last card that they have that's any good is another Tamatoa. Yeah, you can get it from discard, which I knew about. I was playing around that. That's why I have the other Let It Go in my hand. This could also be dime. Like, that wouldn't surprise me. Oh, needing both in hand. Yeah. No, they had one in the bin for a while now, which we knew about. So they do that, and then they concede, because there's only 5 cards left in their deck. So, sometimes you can just overtax what they're doing. Maybe they only have 3 Tamatoas. Or maybe they inked one earlier and I missed it. That would be possible, because then they were out. How do I self-care? Well, I don't practice very good self-care. That is one of my toxic traits, I would say. But one of the better ways to realistically prepare for a tournament is make sure that you have some sort of a snack with you so that you're not just famished all day. Like, if you just don't eat all day, if your rounds go to time, you may not have an opportunity to get food. Making sure that you are hydrated, drinking enough water. If you are a frequent caffeine enjoyer, making sure that you have some caffeine for the day so you don't get a headache. Realistically keeping something like Tylenol or Advil with you if that's something that you know that you may need. Just having those kind of things. And then just getting a good night's rest is honestly what you should be doing. So generally, like, the opposite of what I do most of the time is pretty good. So we're against blue-red again. We'll see if we're on the player draw or if we have a better draw this time. Yeah, basically. So this hand is okay. I send back the dime. This could be a double Fishbone Quill kind of game. I honestly don't mind keeping these 3. I would rather sing the Whole New World ideally, but maybe we don't need the Flav then. Like, this could just be ink. Like, we definitely don't need the Alice. Get nervous and you can't sleep. I mean, try and take a nap during the day beforehand then. There's ways of mitigating some of that where, if you can't sleep normally at night, just try to take a nap during the day if possible. Doing those kind of things that are generally pretty okay for you can help a lot. I guess I am going to just get rid of the Flav, and then we're going to not play the Smee here again. So that we have the Quill, because I may end up wanting to play this Mouse too. Since we drew the second Whole New World, it makes our Whole New Worlds a lot worse. Our third Quill, that's a little too many. 3 is probably sufficient. So let's play a Quill, we'll ink a Whole New World, then we'll pass. Yeah, that goes away with time, and sometimes I can't sleep because I'm nervous before an event too. Most of the TIA events, I'm getting, a few hours of sleep, and that's basically it. So our opponent didn't ramp here, which is super good for us. So let's ink Along Came Zeus. I honestly want to just, like, play more ramp this turn. Let's do this and this, and then we'll just turbo up, and then we'll blast him with high ramp. That's how we'll win this game. Ideally, they don't ramp at all this turn, and then we, like, their best play for us is actually just to Flaversham, because then I think they just lose instantly. Because they're just going to draw 2 cards with their Shield of Virtue, and then we're going to ramp with Whole New World. That feels pretty solid. The only thing that I would draw that I would probably want to play instead of ramping... Oh, this is just not a card. So that's fine for us. Like, if I ripped a Beast Hard-Headed, I would probably blow up the Shield of Virtue. But if I rip something like Fire the Cannons, I'm just going to ink it and do this. So we can also play Hard-Headed here, right? So we can ink a Grab Your Sword. I'd like to keep the Rise. We don't necessarily need the Cogsworth, though. Cogs is okay. But I think the Popsicle is more valuable than the Rise right now, so let's do this. Pop their Shield of Virtue as well. We'll do this. And then we'll just pass. I'm going to keep the Mickey back as Tremaine protection to keep our Beast safe. Because we only have 2 Whole New Worlds left, our next Flaversham is going to be more valuable to us. The reason that I kept the Rise is that I can break a Fishbone Quill if they've got one. If they have 2, there's not a ton that I can do about that. If they're just going to Judy Hops our Quill, that's fine. We've already ramped to 10. I don't know if giving us draw an extra card is really going to make a huge difference, but what if we just broke another one of your Quills for free? What do you think of that? Boop. Seems good to me. Let's play Popsicle and draw a card. I don't think I play the Bell. I would rather save this post. Be prepared, probably. I think I can get rid of another Grab Your Sword here, though, just to make sure that we're still getting some inking going. So we are ahead, but if we don't get anything else that draws us cards, it is not difficult for us to fall behind again. Scar would be a little annoying, because it just gets to kill the Beast and then untap. But we can clean it up with a Grab Your Sword. Sure. Again, it's like mildly annoying, but it's not a blowout here. Smee. Yeah, Tank would have been really good. I think the play is just to do this, because they're not going to be able to heal their stuff anyway, really. I think we do this. I can probably play out the Smee here. And then we can maybe quest with the Mickey. I might just pass. Like, I don't want them to just trade both of these into the Beast, because that's really awkward. We'll just pass. So I played a Popsicle. I am interested in rising this if we're going to Whole New World again. But if we don't Whole New World, obviously I don't want to do that. I'm likely going to ink this Let It Go. But again, I need to draw something that gives us additional velocity on cards. Otherwise, we're going to get buried here. The extra, like, Turbo Fishbone Quill plan is a lot worse when you don't have the 3 extra Whole New Worlds in the deck. So we'll see what they do from here. They decide to quest. I don't think that's a great idea, but to each their own. Especially because I can just do this. We can maybe quest with this one now and play the Sad Beast. Like, I don't think that there's a way for me to force them to play a B-Prep into this board. Like, there's just nothing that I can do to force them to B-Prep this board. Which is kind of awkward. And if they have another Scar, then that's a blowout, but no, not really. I mean, obviously, like, in this exact scenario, Gaston would be pretty okay for us, but I haven't particularly missed him. I think we'll do this, and then just not quest with Smee. And then ship it back. The thing about Gaston, to me, is that because it's an uninkable, like, it makes me have to run this as one of my uninkables. And it is a very good card, but it's, because it costs 6, like, it clogs my board, or my shit a lot, which is really awkward. So it's possible that I should have ran out the Bell to force them to be prep here instead of the Sad Beast. But both of them die equally to the same thing. I'm surprised that they inked a Tamatoa here. That is, like, very aggressive, in my opinion. Especially when one of their dimes is already gone and they had enough ink to play Tamatoa. That's not surprising to me, but there's not really much that I can do about it here. You can't not play my 2 characters. They ink another card. Like, I don't know why they're inking. I can leave the Maleficent in play for now. Just pass. If this is a Tremaine. If it's just another Maleficent Dragon, like, that's problematic. Okay, it's a Tremaine. That's why we were keeping the Let It Go. If it's double Tremaine, their hand is really solid here, but if it's not, like, then we're in a pretty good position. I'm on 3 right now. So how much is this? This is 12. Then I just pass. I can also just kill both of these and pass. That's an option too. Puts them to 12. That might be better. I also have the line of killing both of them and using this to sing instead, but that's weaker to Maui and Scar. Like, they're already down a Medusa and 2 Tremaines. I think the play is just to do this on both of them. And then pass. This deck has, like, no real draw, especially with no items in play. And not all of their cards can remove the Beast here either. Because they have 2 B preps left. They're down maybe to 1 Medusa. Like, I don't think we have to play into the rush cards to get the dime down. We can just wait. Because if they only have 2 cards here, and they have to answer this Beast, and if it's Be Prepared, that's fine, I think. Because then they're down to 3 Be Prepareds. Like, it's not awesome, but they just, like, don't have a lot of cards here to deal with. Yeah. That is what I suspected that they might have. Yeah, they just don't have a lot. I could get rid of the Queen of Hearts right away. I don't think I have to. You can just play the Diamond Pass for now. Like, their clock, this isn't a fast enough clock for me to worry about. It's not great, but we do need something now. Get a redraw. Get another redraw. Beast Hard-Headed is fine. We'll do this. We'll gain 2. I think I can let them go to 11. So I'd rather save this for, like, a Gaston or a Tremaine or a Dragon. Because this clock is fast, but this clock is, like, way faster, right? I don't love that this exists, but we can easily rip, like, Tamatoa or this. And then we can dig out of it. I mean, I think I always have to do this. I'm gonna have 3 if I Whole New World. Okay, wait a turn. This could be a mistake, though. Fuck. Now they ripped a Gaston, so now I don't have a choice. And they play out a Flav. Okay, so they're just playing our characters now. So I guess we have to Whole New World, and I think we're going to lose. I don't think we're going to be able to race them. Like, I unironically don't think Flav is good enough here. Because he used up 4 of my resources. And, like, I have to win in 1 turn, basically. So I feel like it has to just be Ink Flav and play Whole New World. It feels really weird, but... like, I just don't know if there's enough cards for me to draw. Do I have another item in here that I can rip? This comes in... okay, so I can go up to 11 and run out these 2. And then I can win with the Tamatoa. I can also just kill this instead and then still do that. But I wouldn't be able to play the Smee then. What did we get rid of from them? Just to let it go. Okay, so I think I have to ink this. Rise of the Titans. Oh my god, stop. Hello, I don't have time for that right now. So this is 8. Because I have to gain some this turn. Crab plus the thing is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just debating if I can not kill the Gaston, and I think I have to here. So I think we kill the Gaston. Oh, and then I don't have enough ink. Oh, no, yeah, I do. I can do this. And then just get rid of this. And then I can dime here. And then pass. And then I don't think I can ever get Tamatoa up to 9. But if they don't kill this Bell here, then they just lose. Let it go is fine, I think. Maybe. I kind of need to rip dime now. Like, I think that's my only out. Because I don't have one in the bin currently. I don't think there's another way for me to be able to win with this crab. I think it just has to be dime off the top. And they might Judy this one, which if they do, then we're definitely dead. Alright, so dime off the top lets us do... is that even enough? No, I don't think dime off the top does it. I can't activate both. So then I guess the play is that we Flav first. Because it's kind of all the same how much this Tamatoa gains, but we have to stop them from killing us. So we have to draw cards. And we may not be able to play the Tamatoa. If I rip Bell and Dime, I can actually activate both. So that may be the out. Rise of the Titans doesn't do it. Can I Zeus if I draw it? Technically, I guess. There should be one more in here. There's no more swords. So it has to be Zeus or like fire the cannons on the queen and then just dodge a dime, which seems pretty unlikely. So we have to play the Tamatoa and get the Popsicle back and draw a card. And it was Cogsworth. Okay, so I guess they got me then. So we're just a little bit short of being able to kill them, and we can't stop their board. Man, that's too bad. I might have navigated that wrong Like, the turn where they got to play the Gaston, maybe that was the mistake, but it's okay. They got me. And I'd have to go back and look. We had an awkward, like, spot where we didn't really have any draw, which made it pretty tricky. It's just not a great matchup to begin with. And we needed a couple of things to go right for us. Like, we had a lot of our non-characters. It is possible that, like, when I was getting rid of additional Cogsworth and things like that, maybe I just should have been keeping, like, generically more characters, like, be 1 or 2 less ink, but have 1 or 2 more characters. And it's possible that that turn where I played the Beast to try and force them to B-prep, if I just play the Bell there to have the Beast back. But I think they just B-prepped it anyway, so not sure that that matters. These are good against them. The Fire the Cannons is very good. I might just send everything except for these 2, which is a little risky. Maybe I'll keep this for ink, just in case, because it can always be our 5-drop as well. The sand's actually not that bad. We don't have a ton of ink, so like a lot of our characters are our ink here, but overall it should be okay, because we have the Quill, we'll make it work. Let's do this and pass. If they play Pluto, we'll just fire the cannons at, and if they don't, we'll just hold on to it for now. We can play the Popsicle, I think. Ink the Bell, pass. So I'm pretty happy with our hand, I think. So we're going to get to be able to ink both of these Mickeys and just play out a Beast on 4. Rocket Stitch. We can kill that pretty easily, I think. I don't believe that we're going to need double Quill, because they don't really have anything in these colors to get rid of Quill. So once one is out, it'll be able to ink all at once. We can do this. We don't necessarily need to get rid of the Stitch, honestly. Like, I can just get it with this instead. Maybe we hold the Fire the Cannons. Like, this doesn't scare me that much. But if our opponent randomly plays something like a Pongo or whatever, it might be better to be able to clean that up. We could play out Tinkerbell here instead of the Beast, since they can go up to 5. Tinkerbell can also kill this, and then it makes it so that the dock is an awkward play. So we can get rid of the Mickey and the Quill. The only problem is that the only time that we're going to be able to draw cards with this Beast is this turn, basically. Like, literally this turn. The problem is that what's our answer to this dock, then, if we don't play Tinkerbell now? Is kind of my conundrum here. I think we can do this. And then just pass. And if they decide to run out Mufasa, yeah, I can fire the cannons this and also shoot something else too. And if they decide not to use this dock at all, like, that's also fine. Like, if they just play a 4 here. But it does allow us to do the fire the cannons. The problem is, I don't want them to be able to just, like, freely use this dock, because I don't care about a single Mufasa. Like, that's not even really that big of a deal. Like, what is this even doing for them? A single Mufasa here. It's really not even that strong. Like, it's fine. But I don't even really want a quest here. But there's not a way for me to avoid tapping this. So if they have a Maui, they just get me. But I'm considering getting rid of this Fire the Cannons entirely. And not shooting this so that they can't Rapunzel and draw 2. I guess if they Rapunzel and draw 2, that's fine. Maybe I don't care about that. I want to kind of just play these 2, is what I'm thinking. So maybe we hit here, shoot the Mufasa, heal the Tinkerbell. With the Popsicle so that they can't, like, Rocket Stitch it, so it has to be Maui. And then we just Fishbone Quill to fire the cannons and play these 2. And it's possible that Beast was better against that board, and then we can Tinkerbell and fire the cannons this turn, because we'd have an extra card. Like, that's not an unreasonable imagination. I was just wanting to make it so that they had to have some thought about what they were doing here, but it maybe just, like, is irrelevant. So this is fine. I'm not that worried about the Maui here. Mostly because this was kind of scripted then. I'll let them Mufasa. So this is banished. So it is if I hit into it. We'll play a Cogsworth here, and I guess attack the Maui with the Smee. Could also just quest with the Smee. Make the Maui have to hit it, but then if they have... I guess if they had Rapunzel, they would have drawn the cards anyway. I don't think the play is attack with the Beast. I could just do nothing and let them keep this, but I feel like it's better just to hit here. Like, I don't think hitting the Mufasa makes sense. We're just going to take out the Maui and pass. And feel really bad when they kill our Beast for free with their Medusa. Okay, they Rapunzel and draw 2 cards. I think that's fine. Like, we wanted them to draw the 2 cards more than we wanted them to play a real thing this turn. Is kind of my thought. So we got a Rocket Stitch, which is fine. Just like all Cogsworths all the time. They can never remove the dime, which is something of note. They can quest for 5 next turn. We'll have a 3rd Cogsworth in play. I think that's the turn that we go on the offensive with these characters. Is when we have an additional Cogsworth in play. But we'll see. Maybe we're shooting ourselves in the foot by just not attacking. And they might just be prepared here, I guess. I don't know. These lists have been running some weird shit lately. They play a Stitch Rockstar. Interesting. Okay, so we have some options. I should really kill this Mufasa before I make any choices. But I can play the Cogsworth first and then use the Beast to do that. Because I can still sing with the other 2 if I need to. So I think we're going to attack this for 0. Or we'll take 0 and it'll just die, and then we'll see what they hit. Okay, Rapunzel is not awesome, but it's fine. Do I just leave this in play and then kill these? I guess I can kill 1 and then grab your sword. Does that make more sense? Probably. I think we just hit 1, grab your sword, and then we let them draw with the Rockstar Stitch. I think that's okay. Because then they can only gain 5, which I think is fine. Do we even need to use the swords? Wait, I can't even kill this one with the grab your sword. Maybe the play is to let it go the Stitch. And then we kill the Rocket Stitch and take 1. Yeah, that's probably better, actually. Like this. Yeah, this seems fine. Just leave them with 2 Rapunzels. Yeah, now that I look at this, this looks a little better to me, actually. And then we do still have this as a follow-up. And in theory, we can use the Cogsworth just to bully what they're doing. They're going to need an awful lot to kill this Beast in these colors outside of... yes, killing the Maui was to play around the draw 3. And there's worlds where, like... Yeah, I really didn't want them to draw the 3. If they're playing Hook or something, like, I don't want them to take advantage of that. We just don't need the Maui in play. Or we would rather not have the Maui in play. So we're just playing a dock, I assume, for a lore-dense character. And they're just going to quest out and try to race us, which is not an unreasonable strategy here. We can kill most of this without overcommitting too much. We can Beast here. We can double Cogs here. grab your sword, and then that leaves them with just Dock. And then we can play Beast. That seems fine, I think. They'd go to 18, and then we'd still have the Along Came Zeus. Like, we're getting close to the point where we need to actually start questing, but we're just too far behind right now. So let's do this. We can grab your sword with this guy. And then we'll hit here, play Beast. And what's nice about this Beast, actually, is that we're getting to the point where we're going to be drawing enough cards that we can play, or we can use our Quill again to double spell in a turn. Let it go to Mufasa. That's interesting. I didn't actually think of that. But yeah, that probably would have been better. I in my mind, I always treat it like the goats and stuff, where they just always activate. But yeah, that would have been okay there. So, pretty good. We can just hit here, Zeus this one. Probably even just Zeus it for cost, and then play Smee, and then quest for 6. Then pass. Plays around Surfer too. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I never know what they have in their deck. Like, if it's a pretty stock list, it's going to be more predictable, but I've ran into some weird Mufasa lists just playing Be Prepared and things like that. Like, obviously, if we get Be Prepared here, it's real bad. We are in Bell Dime territory, but we're pretty far from being able to Bell Dime. If they play this and a Dock, it's not great for us, because we don't have a removal. Yeah, they have basically everything. Their Rapunzels have been awesome. Gothel doesn't matter. I don't think that we Whole New World here, because they just have the one card. Like, this deck doesn't have any way of getting real reach. I think we just Zeus the Rat again, quest for 10. Then pass. And then I imagine that should be good. Don't know for sure, but they can get to 19. Nice, okay. So you're able to get to 19, which is close, but not quite close enough. Yeah, we have a lot of item removal, which isn't particularly strong in that matchup, but sometimes, especially decks that don't have Be Prepared, like Cogsworth is actually pretty good against almost anything that can't be prepared, because that means that most of their removal is going to be targeted or damage-based, like Maui. And if you can make it so that Maui doesn't trade with stuff, like it doesn't actually kill anything, it becomes really awkward then. Like, real awkward. Alright, we are against another green steel. Go second again, which is not awesome. This hand is kind of bad. Even the Smee isn't great in this matchup. The ramp is good. I honestly am just going to send everything but the 2 Quills back. Smee is, like, okay, but they have removal for it. I would rather find like a Fire the Cannons or a Baboom. We hit another whole new world, which is unfortunate, but we did find a Cogsworth, which is fine. We may not end up using both of these, but we may use one for sure. So I think here we get rid of the beast and send it. I don't mind some sort of hand control stuff, but I just don't think that the draw is good enough to like outpace the discard as a mechanic, so it's like really awkward. So they've gotten rid of 2 of their big Robin Hoods. If they play nothing here, that's pretty good for us. It is a little awkward if they play an Ursula because we have so many songs. I don't even know what they would take. This is great for us because we get to ink a quill and just baboom it, which is exactly what we would want to be doing anyway this turn. And then we can ship it. If I can keep this whole new world for after I play this Cogs, I think I might want to do that, but if we can't, it's okay. Yeah, that's fine. You get to pick your poison. Either we have a bunch of removal and a Cogsworth, or a whole new world. I'm not even sure what their priority would be here, because I don't even know if I really want to be using this whole new world. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Like, it's very easy to get buried by this. In this matchup, I think that a Long Game Zeus is better than Grab Your Sword, especially since we have the Tink. But it's actually closer than I would like it to be, probably. And we're keeping low on cards so that the Friar Tuck is not as big of a pain in the ass. They Benja the Quill, which is fine. Like, here's the thing. I just want to get to 5 to play Cogsworth, and then 6 to play Tinkerbells. So I don't really care that much if they're removing my Quill, because it doesn't really matter, because this card is so good against them that it doesn't really change that much. Sure, I guess we'll get rid of this one. Like, are they just going to make us discard one more card? Like, I'm fine just playing off the top if we don't get to do this whole new world. Beast is a bit annoying, though. Like, very annoying. Because our Zeus is gone. And we lose our Cogsworth if we don't hit a removal off of the whole new world, which is really awkward. Well, none of our removal really stops us from playing this Popsicle. Is there ever a world where I just play Belle? That doesn't seem great. I'm just gonna ink Belle and do it. And if we lose, we lose. That's really awkward. I guess we have to whole new world this. It's fine. I can't really lose my Cogsworth for free, so we may as well just do it and be fine with it. Especially because we can Tink Swords next turn, so that may be good enough just to clean up whatever bullshit that they play after this turn. Benja again, sure. Please just play something else that doesn't matter. Like, literally anything else that doesn't matter here. Play whatever, Prince John. Smee is fine. Come on, Tink Swords, you got this. Alright, so Tink Swords will do some heavy lifting here. As it's designed to, of course. Do we need this as well? No, but we can maybe keep it anyway. We don't have to ink another time. We don't have any items, though, so we may as well get rid of Flab since they blew up our Popsicle. We do this. Plus a Tinkerbell. We, like, I don't know. 2 for 2-ish because they took a bunch of cards from us or whatever. Then we send it back and we just like play Tinkerbells for a while, especially because they're protected with Cogsworth. John plus a Friar Tuck, making us discard 1. Yeah, I would have assumed that they had an Ursula or something too. But hey RMB, how are you? I don't really care that much about Flabbersham. I'm surprised that they didn't play a Tinkerbell here. Tamatoa. Man. The Tinkerbell's like real good here, but how do they ever deal with Tamatoa with a Cogsworth in play? Maybe a better question is, can they deal with a Tamatoa with a Cogsworth in play? I'm doing alright. I decided to jump on to get to D5 so that I can park until Friday, and then we'll make the final push. No, you can... I mean, I've switched decks a couple of times now. I guess I can wait a turn. Like, I don't need to play the Tamatoa, but I really want to. I kind of really want to. It just means that I have to ink the Flav, which is fine. Alright, let's play Tamatoa. I don't think I take the dime. I think I just take Popsicle. And then I guess I can quest with Tinkerbell, because there's nothing that they can really do to stop me, and then I pass. We'll just keep the Cogsworth safe. I just don't see a way for green and blue to deal with this crab. Make us discard a card, sure. And they get to draw an extra card. It's pretty good. They draw 2 cards. I just, like, don't know how they're dealing with crab here. Okay. How can you justify attacking with Friar Tuck here? Because it just gets your Curse Merfolk killed for free, or your Beast basically killed for free. I mean, maybe it's fine. Lucifer, I guess, yeah. I suppose what we should do instead is just try to... Maybe I don't play the Tinkerbell. Do I just let them draw an extra card with the Beast? I could, like, play these 2. Oh, no, I can't. Yeah, I can. Because Tamatoa can get an item back that I can send to the Shadow Realm. And then I can play Bell, ink Tinkerbell plus the thing. And then play Cogsworth. And then attack here. Yeah, that seems fine. So we'll get the Quill, ink the Quill, play Bell, ink Tinkerbell. Game, please. Play Cogsworth, number 2, and then attack the Friar Tuck. And then I don't care if they draw 2 cards here, kind of just doesn't matter. Just do that and pass. We'll keep the Cogsworth back just so it's safe, but we're gaining lethal next turn because we can get the dime back. They literally have to kill our entire board, but I don't think that they can because we can just get him with the Tamatoa getting the dime. And then have Bell gain 10. This is like a really pretty favorable matchup for this deck, I think. Blue Steel just doesn't struggle into this garbage. Crab, getting back Lucky Dime, Dime the Bell, quest with Bell, finish it off. Nice. Alright, well that's it for me today then. This is where I need to park because I'm not going to have the time between now and Friday to climb all the way through Diamond. Which is here. So we're like right here. When they reset us, we're going to lose, what, 30 points, which is whatever. I can stream a little more. We can maybe do a hardcore. I mean, we can talk about the deck some too, and like where my choices are at and why I have them currently. But maybe I can stream a little bit more. It's been a bit early, so let me bring up the deck, and this is what I've sort of been cooking with for the set championships. I'm gonna be going to 6 of them, I believe, is my plan. We want to do this, and then group by Inkwell. This is not the right list. This is the old one. What is that? Crazy. Oh, that's collection. I don't think I've ever clicked on that before. So anyway, so here's the current list that I'm working with, which we can get it a little better as far as bigger this way. And then this way a little bit more. One more. You can do it. There. All right. I'm planning on having at least 6 of them, but I don't know if I'll get 6 playmats. I might. I don't know what I'm going to do with 6 fucking more playmats, but I'm planning on at least getting top 4. I feel like I can in paper with this deck for sure. In best of 3s, like... so basically, this versus most blue steel lists, the biggest piece that I've done is I've cut Gaston in favor of some Along Came Zeus and some Fire the Cannons. Basically, because the uninkable count was getting fucking out of control. We are running some Babooms. It's possible that we want more Fire the Cannons and less Zeus, but the Zeus generally feels pretty good. A lot of the times, it gives you the answer to something like Surfer. Sometimes you can combine it with a Baboom, or for example, like a Cogsworth attack, or you know, a Smee attack and kill a lot of locations. So it just gives you secondary outs to locations. I'm on 3 Rise of the Titans because locations are a problem as well as items. And I'm kind of hedging the split between the Hard-Headed and the Rise of the Titans. Hard-Headed is one of our best cards against the Mirror and against the Blue-Red deck, which we overall have a relatively decent matchup so far against, basically. Bring up the numbers here. It's not like an amazing matchup, but I do think that we are not a complete underdog into it. Overall, we're 66% win rate on it, where we were 1-1 today. So, you know, a good chunk of our losses were actually today. But historically, red-purple has been more of our bane, and then blue-purple with the hard-headed, heavier list. We bully green-gray, and I think that we have been basically since we changed up the deck a little bit. One of the things that we hadn't been doing before is making sure that we had enough answers to like the early stuff so that they don't just get free lore. And then we just have started prioritizing Cogsworth and just staying at, you know, realistically 5 or 6 ink. Let them discard down, you know, blast our whole hand, but we have Cogsworth, and then we just start playing our 5s when we draw them, because the top of our deck is just better than theirs. Most of the time, especially with Cogsworth in play, so that their removal just doesn't really do anything. We have lost to blue-purple. Some of it is that I just like don't understand how to attack that deck. They have similar ramp, but then they just are the goat garbage at the end, and we just don't always have answers for it. I do think that we're maybe a little bit better against that now that we have some of the Along Came Zeus, because we're just not losing to like double castle, double location if they're playing McManor or whatever either. The Tamatoa is, I think, almost uncuttable right at this point for me, at least with 1. Because for me, it counts as, it's like Lucky Dime number 3, but also sometimes, you know, you have just an extra Popsicle or an extra Fishbone Quill, but it gives you the way of getting a dime back. I found that we didn't necessarily need the Gastons. They are very nice. It is a good card. And that's probably why our red-purple matchup has suffered some, like, overall, is because we don't have the Gastons, because I think that's the matchup where it's probably at its best. Because you can't really you can't really race Gaston, ideally, right? You can't favorably be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play stuff to keep up with him because he just quests for 3. Yeah, I think that the Tamatoa is very good, and there's definitely worlds where 2 of them is right. I think Bell is a better card in this deck, and the reason that I think Bell is better is because we only have 8 items. And there's so much item destruction, and like we blow up our own items with Flaversham. The crab sometimes quests for a bunch, right? Sometimes we have a board where we just have a couple of quills and a couple of popsicles. We had one of those earlier. But a lot of times, just like our last opponent, like our last board, we had 1 item in play, which was the thing that we got off of Tamatoa, right? So it doesn't always close as quickly as Bell does, which is why I'm opting for 4 Bell. There's also a lot of times where you play Bell just as an extra way to ramp as well. I'm sure that it's impacted the consistency. However, I replace those cards with other cards, right, that are also strong. Like, instead of Develop Your Brain having to find, the ramp and find the Cogsworths or whatever, I just have more density of, like, strong shit in the deck. Be that removal in Rise of the Titans or Long Came Zeus, or... techie cards like Alice and Tamatoa. We have a higher density of bells just because we have more of them. And a lot of times what happens, and the way that I've seen a lot of the blue steel lists running, heavy Gastons, heavy Develop Your Brains, is they just have less cards that do anything. Because Develop Your Brain is like not a real card. It doesn't do anything on its own. It's just looking for other cards. So if you're playing a 56 card deck, which is sort of what Develop Your Brain does for you, you have to make sure that those 56 cards are enough to win every game, and sometimes they just aren't, I've found. Like, you don't have access then to Hard-Headed, and Beast, and Tinkerbell, and the Cogsworth, and all the bells, and some targeted removals that you just don't lose early, right? And it's possible that we need another one of these. Like, I cut one today for the Alice, and it's possible that it should be something else that got the axe, but the Alice to me feels like a really strong multi-purpose card. Sometimes it's good against locations. In those really cloggy Cogsworth wall boards, Alice is able to allow you to punch way up with your cards. You quest with 2 Cogsworths, all of a sudden your Mickey can hit for 5 and kill a beast or whatever. And also this is a sort of 5th bell in those really slow matchups where you have a pretty wide board, because it is not that unreasonable to imagine being able to have 2 or 3 Cogsworths in play and, one of these other cards, a Smee, a Bell, a Beast, to be able to get up to enough strength to make this Alice be able to be worth 5, and then you could immediately Fishbone Quill it and gain that 5. So the support is not to be underestimated, but the real thing that it allows you to do is actually kill Big Cindy in the yellow steel sort of matchups, where normally you don't have the ability to interact super favorably with it because your cards are too small individually. Cogsworth can't really hit her at all, but if you have a couple of Cogsworth, then all of a sudden your Tinkerbell can very easily just attack and kill it there. So I don't play it as like, oh, this is worth 5 lore. I play it as I can combine this with my other cards in the matches where that would be relevant. Sometimes it's just a 1/4 that's okay against red-purple because it protects against Tremaine. But it allows you to sort of Tron up one of your guys to make it strong enough to actually punch through a big resist character, which, because it is instant when you play it and it affects all of your characters, you can make a pretty large character kind of out of nowhere, or even 2, depending. So that's the thought behind Alice anyway. Because there are some games where, you're... Like, I've milled out in some games. Like, I've just drawn my whole deck, and I've gone through the whole deck between Quills and Whole New Worlds and Bells and whatever. We've got a lot of ink, and there's just worlds where you can get to a board state where you Whole New World, you rip this Alice, and then all of a sudden you can just, clean up a board very easily, present lethal, and then just pass when they have nothing in play then, because their card that they thought was safe, which is something like you know, maybe something protected by Cogsworth, or maybe the big queen that now just isn't because of this Alice being in play. So it's just an interesting one of, I could see this sometimes being a 2 of, but I really don't have room for it. Like, there's no room left in this deck at all. Because I can't think of a card that I'm really excited to cut out of this deck anymore. Like, I'm just out of cards that I want to cut from this deck. And I still wanted the 4th hard-headed, but I wanted the Alice a little bit more, because it just gives other value in other matchups. I felt like the Zeus has overperformed for me lately, especially since more people are on Beast, more people are on Tremaine, Surfer. It just is a very flexible card. I just wish that it was inkable, but obviously it would be way too good then. It also gives your Flavershem something to do sometimes when you are in sort of a bigger board game with Whole New World, where then all of a sudden your Flavershems can be better removal than just a 1/6 Stork. Alice also can function similarly in that sort of role, because you can play Alice and then quest with a couple of things, make this Flaversham huge, and then have it attack into something, and then the 6 health on it, you know, the 6 willpower actually matters a lot more, because all of a sudden your, you know, 1/6, which is just a big butt to begin with, is able to rumble into combat, live, and still kill one of their things, when that's important, you know. But this Alice also, it was good with Gaston too, because it let your Gaston still quest, but then you get the 4 power thing in. But it felt like I rather have other inkable or uninkables in a long game Zeus, because like this is basically the slot, like this slot and the fire the cannons. Because if we go back to this, which is this, you know, the deck list with the information, like you look at our uninkables and we're at 16. So here's our uninkables. Like, what do you cut here to put in Gastons if you want them, right? You have removal as an option. Not fucking cut and grab your swords. That's the whole reason that this deck is viable in the metagame, is because it's one of the few that actually plays like the Tink grab your sword package, right? And it's not even running the full grab your swords. I don't really want to cut down dimes, because I think this is one of the more important cards in the way that we've constructed the deck. Like when you have the bells, I think this is just the payoff, right? You do a bunch of this shit through the mid game. You know, you maybe go, you quest here for 2, you get your Cogsworths for 2 or whatever. And then the payoff is that you get to the dime bell at some point where you can just kill them in 2 turns, even through removal, right? So then you get to the Mickey. You have to run either Mickey or 1 jump ahead, I think, in this deck, because there's only 4 quills, and this is unreliable on its own. So then you can't really run 4, because the math says that 7 of this effect is like 3 or 4% worse than just running 8. So you may as well just run 7, because it's pretty close to the same. Obviously, it is a higher percent chance to see it by turn 3 or whatever if you have another one, but it is not always necessary, because there's a lot of matchups where you can get to 5 and then, you know, do some stuff for a while, and that's usually okay. Especially with the Cogsworth matchups. Literally every Steel matchup is just like play as many Cogsworth as you can possibly get into play, and then that's how you win the game. There's so many decks that just can't beat Cogsworth, period. You get 2 or 3 of them in play, and they literally, none of their spells have any text on them at all. So then any of your 4/4s, your Tinks, your whatever, all of a sudden these become like really good at removing their shit, and then you're just going to bury them eventually with your better cards, because, you know, you get to 10 and you can play 2 things at a turn, or 9 even, you know, with Bell plus a Beast, or Bell plus a Sad Beast, or whatever. So then you're not cutting Whole New Worlds, right? So we've got this as our spot that we can cut. So you can either run a long game Zeus as a better removal option than Let It Go, or you can run some Gastons. And I don't necessarily know if this is right or wrong. Right? It could be 2 Fire the Cannons and 2 Long Game Zeus. And I think that would be acceptable as well. But I really feel like if you're not running some amount of this stuff, you can be in a pretty bad spot against some of the cards that this is really strong against. Which is sort of my thought with how I've gone to 3 of them now. Because if your opponent runs out a Tragic Hero, Sad Beast, and you're able to, you know, do a whole new world and then remove it by singing with another thing, that gives you a lot of value in your whole new worlds because you have some songs. This does make us a little bit softer to Ursula. Like green-purple is a little better against this deck, I think, than average. Because we have more songs, we have less like individually high lore characters. But you can kind of play that matchup similarly to the way that you would play any of the discards. Because most of those decks don't run much item removal, even though they probably should. Most of them don't really run any, and they certainly don't run any AoE board wipes for Cogsworth, so they can't really get Cogs off the table either. So if you can sort of stabilize the tempo deck that they've got, and then bully their cards, usually the Cogsworth can be good enough to help you with that. It's not perfect, but that is generally the spot where I would think that it helps. So especially if you expect a lot of green steel, I think this deck, as constructed, is probably really strong. Certainly because Long Game Zeus just kills all of their better cards. Like, it kills the 6-drop Robin, it kills Friar Tuck, even if they've got one of those in play. It can kill Sad Beast if they play one, Tinkerbell. Just kills basically all of the steel cards, which is why it's so strong, in my opinion. But yeah, so that's kind of the deck. I don't know. I don't necessarily think that this is the perfect version of this deck. A little bit of it is metagame dependent, and I think, like, I can understand the reason behind running something like... We'll do one hardcore game. I can understand the reason that you would play Gastons and develop your brains in a deck like this, but in my opinion, if you're playing those cards, you may as well just run the blue-red version of the deck, because I think you're sacrificing a lot of the potential power in the deck for having just like less cards, having more consistency. So each one of your cards has to be individually more impactful. And I just don't think that the steel cards are as impactful as the ruby ones outside of Whole New World. Like, Swords on its own isn't as good as Be Prepared, right? So if you're finding a card, the Be Prepared is just generally going to be better. I go second. I think we send this back. We'll keep the Mickey, though. So we'll send 6. So we keep a ramp and a really bad hand, but we'll make it work, hopefully. So we're against blue-red, I suspect. It could still, in theory, be blue-steel of some flavor, but I would imagine that this is blue-red. Against Amber Steel? Against Amber Steel, it's fine. You still are on the same... It's just a steel deck. You still play the Cogsworth plan, where you try to do any ramp into Cogsworth. But because we have some targeted removal, like, you can kill a Robin, and then that delays them from shifting before you can get a little bit of ramp, and then that usually is good enough to be able to get down a single ramp into a Cogsworth, and then that's really how you excel. In my experience, that's been the way that you can keep up with what they're doing a lot of times. If I can keep this Rise, I will. But it may not be possible. But this Cogsworth is going to be really good here, so... that's a bit awkward. I guess I'm going to have to get rid of the Rise here, then. And then we'll pass. And if I can play the Fishbone Quill, I will. But if I can't, I'll ink the Quill and play the Mickey. But I'd rather get the Quill down, I think. So this is probably somewhere closer to, like, the Savage list, where it is playing, like, the Shift package, and it's a bit lighter on all of the cards that are actually good. In my opinion, of course. Alright, Smee, I think you're gone. I think we play the Quill. And I'm going to just get rid of Mickey here. And then I'm going to pass. Yeah, they didn't get any ramp. I would imagine that they're going to Benja me here, which is a little annoying. Why did they ink a Cogsworth? There's no way that that's right. Well, I don't know if our opponent necessarily understands what's actually good in this matchup, but we'll see. We shall see if they're able to handle the Cogsworths. Because there's literally no removal for Cogsworth in this matchup. It just stays in play forever. They sing one jump ahead as their ramp. We ripped another Fishbone Quill. This might be a double Quill kind of game. So let's get rid of the dime. We'll just play Gaston, and I think just pass. This very well could be a double Quill kind of game, though. Especially because they're at 42 cards already, because they've played so many, like, Develop Your Brains. If they're looking to just, like, draw cards here, I suspect that they're trying to find ramp. Okay, so they finally found a Cogsworth, which is bad for us. They one jump ahead again, also kind of annoying. Losing Tamatoa here is not ideal. But I don't know if I have a choice. No, I do have a choice. I can just play him next turn. Right? I can just get rid of these two and play him next turn. I will give them one turn. We'll ink whatever we draw, basically, and play Tamatoa, and then we'll Whole New World. We don't necessarily have to Whole New World right away, but we'll see. Plays a Tinkerbell, okay. And I grab your sword. Sure. We can't afford this Tamatoa because our Cogsworth is dying. Well, I have an idea. I'm going to play this Smee into the Inkwell. We're going to play Tamatoa. Do we just do this now? Or do we assume that they have another Swords? Because if they have another Swords, then it's really awkward. I think I'm just going to do it now. They had Fire the Cannons, so they didn't have a Swords to deal with it, but it's fine. So we can ink... Our Swords is a lot worse here, too. So we may have drawn them into Cogsworths, and we didn't find one of our own. I think Alice is pretty good in this matchup, and we don't really need more cards. So let's get rid of this and one of these Tinkerbells. We're going to play a Popsicle. And then we'll pass. And then we're going to lose our Cogsworth here, which is not ideal. And then our Tamatoa is going to take 2. We may just lose here if they are able to, like, Zeus our Tamatoa. Or let it go. Because then it was just not a good play, period. Another Cogsworth. Like, what I'm considering is basically either playing this Alice and inking everything, or just inking everything, and then Whole New Worlding again. Why did they tap this? That's... What a bad draw. That is a really bad draw. Bummer. You can do this and grab your sword, and then they lose a Cogsworth. But these both live because the Cogsworth is still alive. Oh no, they would not take any damage anyway. Yeah, we're not in a great spot here. Our opponent has managed to play way more things than us, which is just not the answer. Maybe I don't care about this Alice. Yeah, I don't know if I even care about Alice. I'm going to play it, but I don't know if I necessarily care about it. We're going to do this, though. They had Dime Bell in hand. So here we just drop double Cogs. They can go to lethal. Like, if they just have a dime, we die. I don't think there's anything that I can really do to stop it, though. We do this and then pass. Maybe I wasn't supposed to heal this because it's what gives us lethal if we have a dime. Because we've got... Well, if we draw a dime, we can play 2. So this is 5, 10, 16, 17, 18, 19. So yeah, maybe I wasn't supposed to get rid of that item. Oh no, the dime can still kill them. So if they don't dime us, we'll probably be fine. Because I don't think that they can kill Tamatoa here, but we have to find a dime. And then we'll win. But it has to specifically be a dime. It could be a dime in like 3 cards though. Because this will be good for 5, this will be good for 5, and then 6, and then this is 4, and then that's lethal. So yeah, we just need dime now, and then we can win this game. Without it, it's going to be rough. Zeus for 3. Zeus for 3. Are they going to kill our crab here entirely? That's unfortunate. Unexpected. So now we are very far from killing them. And they basically have us dead to rights. That's a shame. Well, we tried. We'll go to game 2. How did I goof this game up so badly? I guess not dealing with the Smee. Maybe that was our problem. Like, we let them have the Smee in play, and then they put the Cogsworth this quested for like 8. Which is unfortunate. See if we would have even found the dime at all. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like we would have found the dime here, so it wouldn't have mattered. Alright, fair enough. We tried. I don't know how our hand ended up being so awkward. I guess maybe because we didn't have, like, the beast. We can keep double Quill again. Can ink the Tinkerbell. Like, our hand is good on the play. Ink this for sure and pass. We could also run out the Smee. I think I have enough ink for that. if we're assuming that we're going to slam Whole New World on curve. Looking for cogs. Maybe we don't need the second Fishbone Quill then. We'll see. Double Quill is very strong. A Robin. Well, I guess we're not playing Smee then. Which means that we probably don't need this Tinkerbell. We're just going to kill Robin right away. Goodbye. Cuts them off the shift line, which I think is nice. Could have been the turn where I didn't play my own Smee to contest their Smee. Maybe that was where we messed up. Because we just like didn't have an extra character in play. We may not have enough cards for double Fishbone Quill here. Oh, we'll see. I'll probably ink Smee over the Quill. And then get rid of whatever this is and try to keep it to see if the Beast draws extra cards. It may not. But if Beast draws an extra card, then we can get an extra ink out of it. Yeah, I don't think I need 3 Quills, though. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe. I mean, the Crab did give us a line to win. They just ended up ripping into double Zeus to attack it. Like, it had to be Zeus, Zeus plus that, because their characters on play weren't enough to be able to kill it either, right? So I don't necessarily think that that was bad, but it's hard to know. Because they could have also ripped, like, Let It Go or something, and then that kills the Crab too. But you might be right that just going sooner to try and play other stuff might have been better. It's kind of hard to say, because they developed a lot of stuff. So unfortunately, they got to quill their own. Which is not surprising, like that's predictable here, right? Yeah, like I had set him up in a spot where if I got the dime, I think I win there. Do we... I think we do this. I think I just do that and pass. So we don't need to double ink this turn. We can wait, because if they Zeus our Beast, like... but if they double ink and play Tinkerbell, that's fine. And then this plays around the Benja, because then I don't care about Benja. I don't love that they have a Quill of their own, so ideally I rip into a Rise to be able to kill their Quill as well. I mean, I guess I don't have to Whole New World if they're going to ink their whole fucking hand. Make them do it. Yeah, I suppose that I don't have to do Whole New World myself if they're going to just ink their whole fucking hand. I will just play a Cogsworth and then ink this. And then pass. Like, it doesn't make any sense to do Whole New World myself if they're going to over-ink their entire hand. It's like I just have a better board than they do. I suppose I could have quested with the Beast here, because there's not really anything that they can do to stop me. But I'm thinking about drawing the 2 cards here is just better. They quill their last cards. They just have nothing. Nice. Okay, so I can't play Quill and ink enough to be able to play this other Beast. But I can play Beast. Like this. And then I can... do I just kill this Benja? I could just kill Benja. I could also just sing Grab Your Sword and then kill Benja. And then this has 2 damage on it instead of the Cogsworth having any damage. That's maybe fine. Like, I don't need this to draw 2 cards anymore. This is fine. Like, this one drawing cards is plenty. And this way, if they tap their Cogsworth, I have an easy way to kill it too. They have ceased my ability to draw cards. Sure. We'll just quest for 6 every turn. I think we'll do this. And then we'll just draw 2 cards. And then we'll just quest out, I think. And pass. Like, I could have done the whole New World play, but if they wanted to commit so many ramp that they, like, deleted their entire hand, I don't really need to anymore. Other Cogsworth is a good card. I don't think it's gonna matter, though. Just play this, blow up their quill in case they do find a whole new world. We'll just quest out. Could have maybe kept it in my hand, but I don't really think I need it. They have to end the turn, or end the game this turn, so it seems pretty unlikely. Okay. So we'll go to game 3 on the draw. So we got a Baboom. It's like, okay. We need some ramp, though. I think I can send just everything to look for ramp, especially on the draw. Baboom is nice so they can't shift Robin, but it's more important that we get a better chance of hitting a ramp. So we'll just full send, and then we get a couple of draws towards it. Ink to Cogsworth again. This is just wild to me. But if they have the better payoff, maybe it doesn't matter. If they can just one jump ahead. Well, if they're inking a quill, that definitely means that they have plenty of ramps, so that's not awesome. Alice is good in this matchup, but I don't think I'm going to just play her on turn 3, so may as well send it. I will use the Rise of the Titans on 3 to blow up an item if I have to. Okay, develop your brain. I suppose they can ink and still play the quill. What? They've inked a Cogsworth and a quill, and they just missed their ramp. I don't understand. I'm so confused. I am, like, peak confused here. What happens if I blow up your Popsicle? And then your Flaversham can't draw any cards? How do they just not have a quill on that turn? I'm just... It's just so insane to me. I would really like to be able to play this beast, but I don't think I can. Like, I want to get this bell down, but I don't really know if I can. Like, is it better to just not play the bell? Maybe I just don't play the bell, because if they have removal, like, it's bad, and this way I can still just get rid of this to play the Cogsworth if I have to. I see. So they have nothing. Their whole hand is uninkable. Crazy. Yeah, they really overestimate Develop Your Brain. I guess I can get rid of the Beast to play the Cogsworth, and then we'll have the Fishbone Quill for later. The Beast is very good here, but I think that the Quill is better, but I want to develop Cogsworth now. Because if, let's say that they have a couple of whole new worlds, and they just want to run them out right now, I don't want them to have that ability. Let's do this and this. And then we'll quest for 2 and pass. Hey, Default Dan, appreciate the raid. Thanks for that. Hope that everybody was having a good time watching some Pixelborn. I am doing one hardcore game. We are 1-1 currently. Before I'm probably done for the night. So they did Whole New World, unsurprising. So their hand is all removal, basically, which is kind of what we suspected. We didn't really lose much out of the deal. Our opponent lost a ton. We don't have any items in here except for the dime, so we could get that back with the Tamatoa. Or we could play Coggers. I feel like it's better to get back either the Tamatoa or play the Bell and the Cogsworth. Which, now that I say that, it's like very obvious that it's just Bell and Cogsworth, and I just don't give a shit about this Robin Hood. So let's do this. We'll play Bell. We can actually ink the Flab. I don't really need the Flab at all, because we're just setting up to be able to Tamatoa next turn. So we play the Cogsworth, and I can use this to ink the Tinkerbell. I really don't think we're going to need Tinkerbell at all. They can do shit. They can't do shit. I'm just going to do this and then get in my 2. And then we'll be able to play our Tamatoa and get the dime back, plus play the Smee. And then I feel like the game is just over because I just don't care about this Quill anymore. Like, the Quill has already done its damage. Are they just going to shift Robin and, like... Yeah, they literally have the shift Robin and they don't use it because it's just not even that strong. But they might. Testing Dex for 5k. That's cool. Oh, they do shift one. Neat. What are they doing with it? They're attacking this for 2. Okay, fair enough. That was the most I suspected that they were going to be able to deal to my Cogsworth here, and that's how much they did. So I guess that's fine if they wanted to commit that. I suspect I'm just not going to quest with my Cogsworth anymore, and that's okay. They heal their Robin. Sure. I don't know if I care about that. Let's just play Tamatoa. Get back Lucky Dime. Do I even ink this beast? This is 9. I can ink the beast. I don't really need the beast. Let's do this. We'll play the Smee. I could kill the Robin if I attack it with all of my things. I could also just quest with Bell and then go to 9. And then I don't need to use the Grab Your Sword at all, and I just keep both of my Cogsworth back so that they're safe. So I feel like that's just smarter. It's not that Cogsworth, or sorry, that the Tamatoa is necessarily questing for a lot here, but it does mean that I can, yeah, they just lose. Okay, so that makes sense. So, unsurprisingly, they realize that our board is literally unkillable. I don't know why they got rid of Quill. I feel like they massively overvalued DYB, which is why I don't think DYB is really that good of a card, because they should have probably just inked it to start, right? Instead of digging for something. It's the same reason that sometimes I'll ink Popsicles instead of playing them, because you can be in this really awkward position with something like Popsicle or something like Develop Your Brain, where it is your only inkable or one of your few inkables, and you're overvaluing the card that it can find, when the reality is that you should just use it as the ink. Like, that also happens sometimes when people play things like Maleficent 3, where they're overvaluing, like, oh, I can get a 2/2, and then I can ink whatever I hit instead of just inking that. Because it's, I don't know, it's just, yeah, they were playing it to dig for ink when it is inkable, right? And they're just, like, filtering through their deck, and maybe the strategy of you know, crunching through your deck is fine in certain amount of games, but it definitely feels like it's just not the play. Especially because they had to ink a Cogsworth. Oh, nice. Yeah. That's cool. Well, welcome. Welcome back, I suppose. I think I'm maybe done for today. I know it wasn't a super long stream, and I know that there's not probably a lot of people on, I would imagine. But normally this is one of the days that I don't stream a bunch, and I have other stuff that I've got going on, but I wanted to make sure that we reached Diamond 5 for the reset on Friday. I likely will just go to work tomorrow and then try to stream Friday after the reset. I don't know when the resets actually are, like what time. I'm pretty sure that they're earlier in the day rather than later, but I can check by making sure that this says 0. I may be able to climb a little bit and test more of the deck before this weekend, because I am going to be doing 2 of the set champs this weekend, and then 1 Monday, maybe, I think. I don't remember if that's this Monday or next Monday. But, yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot of Lorcana in the next 2 weeks here, whether it's here or just online, in person. But I will be updating roughly where I'm at as far as if I make any additional deck changes. So, yeah, I appreciate everybody for hanging out. Obviously, if you have any questions about this deck or any of the decks, you can always ask me, either here, just hit me up on Twitter or Discord. You can always shoot me questions, and I'm happy to try and answer why I think about something or why I'm making particular choices. Really, the way that I've constructed this list is trying to hedge against the most decks, which isn't always necessarily the best strategy, but I am hedging against the most popular decks as well. Like, this is good against the best cards that Amber Steel has against us, which is Big Cindy, and having heavier Rise of the Titans and Along Came Zeus is better against the red-purple decks that are switching to more locations and more surfers, as well as being good still in combination with the hard-headed against a lot of the item decks, so that we're not just folding to red-blue. It's still not a matchup that I love to see, but you can still win games against red-blue pretty easily with this deck because you have the hard-headeds, because you have the Rise of the Titans. You just use them to kill their items pretty aggressively. They have a finite amount of draw in their deck, and I don't mean draw in the sense of like, oh, I played a card and it got me one other card. I mean things like Flaversham. I mean things like Whole New World that are ripping a bunch of cards at a time. Replacing itself, I don't care as much about. It's the, draw 6 cards with Flaversham because they were able to play a bunch of items. Like, those are the problems that you can get buried under. But if you blow up their popsicles, you blow up their quills, you even blow up their dimes and stuff when they play them, like if you have enough item removal for those decks, you can kind of run them out of draw. You might get it to a position where you have the quill, you hit the Whole New World, like the first or second one maybe, and then you get into a position like where you can kind of count roughly how many items they have left, and then you just stop blowing up more items. Or, sorry, you stop Whole New Worlding and you blow up the remainder of their items, and they just don't really have any card draw left. And it makes Flaversham just like a really medium 1/6 that you can manage like with the rest of your cards in some situations, because they just don't have additional card draw. If they are able to outpace you on the ramp, like, then that strategy becomes a little bit harder. But still keeping them off of multiple card draw, you can minimize some of the damage that having a shit ton of cards are. Because if you're playing 2 spells a turn to their 1, like, that's generally when you can win in those matchups. They B-prep the board, you follow up with a Bell and a Sad Beast, or a Bell and a Hard-Headed, or a Cogsworth, or whatever, and now all of a sudden they're in a position where you still have a reasonable threat in play, plus you've got this Bell that they have to answer, so they have to then make a choice, especially if it's Bell and Sad Beast. If they only have a Medusa, they have to decide what they care about more, and usually it's the Bell, because you can always threaten just gaining 10 with the Dime plus Bell, and that's like miserable for them. So, alright. I think Zepha is on. We can probably send you over there. I think he's looking to update his metagames spreadsheet, which is probably good to take a look at anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and send you over there. We made our goal here, which is nice. That was the goal, so I'm glad that we were able to do that. But I will go ahead and send you over there. And it looks like he's also on a flavor of Blue Steel, so you can get his perspective as well. So thanks for hanging out, and I will see you next time.
In our deck,